Hello guys, this is Stronghold Big Fish, and on this video we'll be doing one of the most requested content so far, and that's gonna be a full-on guide on what elements are. And on this video, this will be what we're gonna be talking about. The first one being elements in general and what they do, dragon runes and where to get them, how to set attributes, building your class, and some important notes. So I think that this would pretty much comprise the most important factors and fundamentals of elements and what it impacts your character in the game. I hope that you guys would not skip the videos, because then a lot of the things I say afterwards might be difficult to understand if you skip things, because I'll be putting at stuff along the way to build up into that. Now, let's talk about the very first thing, and that's gonna be elements. What are elements? Now, if you see here on Dragon Runes, these are elements. There are water, light, dark, and fire. Each of them are pretty much locked into whatever class you're choosing, and in most cases, a tier 3 class like Guardian, Saint, Inquisitor, what else? Crusader. We are all locked into 2 elements. Now, out of those 2 elements, there's a reason to why we're locked into 2 elements. And that's because a fire type Guardian is pretty much crap due to a couple factors. And that's the fact that our 3rd skill, which will be our Guardian skills, or the 3rd skill of the class, actually is locked into only 2 elements. For Guardian, it's gonna be holy and water. If you see here, this one's holy, water, and this one's gonna be on holy and water. And this works the same way across all classes. Each class is having different sets of their own elements that are locked into the 3rd class. So, once you know about this, so you are only selective towards 2 different builds. You can go either the one that you get, or the one after, which will be, for me, I choose holy. That's a joke, that's actually water. I actually go for water instead of the holy build, because I want to build my character as a water guardian. And all of this plays a very important role in knowing what build is better for what content. There is not gonna be a particular content that's just overall better from going one element. For example, if you're going for PvP, the holy build is going to be way superior due to the fact that this skill gives you super armor status, so you can't get staggered. That's very good. But because it's holy locked, I can't equip it, because even if I equip it, I'm not really exactly getting anything aside from just raw damage. Also, another thing to mention out is different sets or different builds go with different attributes. Like, say for this one, for a very good example, this one being the shield break is gonna be scaling off strength, whilst if I go for holy, it's gonna scale off agi. And this works the same way across every single skill of that particular element. If I'm going for holy, it's gonna be strength all around, from the sage's skill all the way to the guardian skill, and this works the same way across all classes. Next, what does elements do? Well, elements gives you, well, damage, but you can only choose one. If you see on the very bottom left here, you can choose whatever element you want, and you're locked into using one. So you'll be equipping one, and everything else is just gonna be useless. They have absolutely 0 impact in what you have in your arsenal. You can have 589 dark, 672 light element, and 178 fire element, and none of this is going to do anything because you're not using that. So ideally, the best case scenario is you're going to have basically a single color on your dragon rune, and we're all building towards that at the end game. However, for now, well, we'll just focus on getting one. That's pretty much the best case scenario. So whatever you don't select, for me I select water, means everything else, light, dark, and fire, is going to be completely useless. And it is how it is. So be sure to equip whatever set you want, and make sure you don't choose something that will get you in trouble. Like, say if you focus on fire and you're gonna end up becoming a guardian, that's gonna be really bad because the Guardian doesn't scale off fire at all. And you'll be locked into just using Sage's skill till the very end. So be sure to know what elements did a particular class have if you're planning on class changing in the future. Next will be Dragon Runes and where to find them. Dragon Runes can be found in several different places. They're very scarce, but the most common way of finding it is going to be on your seal breaker. This is going to be the most common way of getting it, and you do get the most amount of it through here. This is, however, locked into clearance, and how many you clear gives you more. So if you can clear more floors, you're going to get more. But this isn't just that. There is actually different ways of getting the Dragon Runes. And the first one's going to be First Strike on Boss Arena. This is probably one of the least reliable way of getting it, because you never know when you're going to get summoned first. Because you might actually be summoned later and someone else gets summoned first. So this is pretty much RNG. You get basically 2 tries on Boss Arena every single day. You can literally go like 5 days without even getting a single first strike, so be sure to remember that. Like, first strike is basically you spawning first, and you hit the boss first. That's basically what first strike is. And you get 1 Dragon Rune, a white one, from that. The next one's gonna be from Daily Quest rewards at 100 points of daily completion, which will be here on the very bottom right. You can see that there is Velskud inscription. This is going to be Dragon Runes. You get 1 a day once you get 100 points of your daily quest reward completion. Next one's going to be from Daily Rewards, and this is going to be all the way here from Daily Rewards. You get it every 4th day of the week, basically. And this goes pretty much, basically get 4 of them in a single month. The next one's gonna be a path to hero completion, which is gonna be this one, Road to Success. You get, well, runes. You get 5 of them. But this one will eventually end at day 14, and you won't be getting any of them anymore. So be sure to know that this one is pretty much locked onto using this quest until it finishes. This thing doesn't actually go anywhere after 14, so at some point once you finish this won't be another source for Dragon Runes anymore. And lastly will be some honorable mentions, but this one, by God, I have no idea if this is true or not. I have not tested it, I have not seen it, and I haven't experienced it myself, but some people told me that you can actually get some Dragon Runes from your tactical Stronghold, which will be this one. However, I have looked into the weekly rewards. I've looked at a couple things, participant values and second participant. I do not see it. But then again, the same thing can be said about Boss Arena. There's no such thing aside from this one, which would be, it doesn't really tell you how to get it, right? But the thing is, this tactical Stronghold doesn't really have any indicator of where you can actually get it or not and stuff. So this one is pretty much just hit or miss. Like, this is probably just a, how would I put it nicely? This is either just a, it's just a hoax, perhaps, but I'm not quite sure. And finally, the last way to find the Dragon Runes will be on Battle Pass. And this is gonna be your rewards of these. Battle Pass Crystal. You can get a couple Dragon Runes from the completion of the Battle Pass, and you can get this pretty much by leveling them up. So 15, 5, that's 20. 20, 20, 60, 80. So that's 80. And if I recall correctly, you need 5 for each summons. So if you go to Battle Pass here, you do have the need of 5 to get it. So you can pretty much get somewhere around 5 times 9, 18. So you can get like 18 dragon runes, I would say. That's probably a pretty good way of putting it out. That is a very good way of putting it out. So you can get somewhere around that area. And that's pretty much about it for all this. This is pretty much the only way of getting dragon runes as far as I know of. I have not found another way of getting dragon runes aside from those, but if I do miss something, you can let me know in the comment section down below, so that everyone else who reads it will at least find something new. Next will be setting attributes, and this is going to be what to build your class with, and how do you set those attributes. Well, if you see here in dragon runes come in different shapes and sizes. If you look here on the very left, the first 2 is going to be for the first level. That is going to be the white one. It takes up 6 slots, and it has random colors. It has 3 rating, and basically speaking, by putting 1, you'll have 3 rating. What you want, at least up to this point, is to maximize chances of getting 3s. The 3s one, this is gonna be the yellow one. So it goes from white to green. Yeah, so it goes from white to green to blue to yellow, and then to purple, and then to red. I'll show you what I'm talking about, but first we need to go to... We'll just remove all, and I'll let you see this yourself. So the one over here is gonna be the dark one. This is red, which will be the highest one, and ideally you want to have this, but of the same element that you are using, all the way from the top to the bottom. So this will be the end game look of what it's gonna look like. You're gonna have singles like this, all the way from the top left to the bottom right. This will give off pretty much the highest amount of rating possible, probably somewhere around 1200. However, for now, the best thing that we can do is to just focus on getting as much of your element of a single stagger. So say like me, I'm currently... Give me a second. I can't find that. Can't find it. So if you see here, give me a second, there's probably some lag. Yeah, there's probably some lag. I can't seem to see it. There's some lags. Yeah, the game is pretty laggy, guys, so please give it a moment. Perhaps it will get better soon. I'm not quite sure though. But ideally speaking, that will be pretty much it. You're going to be having 3s, and you want to get 3s, as many 3s as possible, because the 3s are the most cost effective and less risky. So what you want to do always, every single day, is actually like this. You want to be able to try out, you want to do all your layers, you want to do your layers, you want to do your abyss, you want to do just the things that require a lot of battle power, and you want to do all of those. And once those are done, then you can start taking risks. You can start on disassembling and try to make the riskier decisions to actually level them up. However, try to finish everything first before you start synthesizing your stuff, because if it doesn't go well, you're not gonna be losing out, and by reset time you would have more dragon runes to work with. So ideally, if you want to take risks, do it at the end of the day once everything is done. And every total rating will give you bonus element multiplier. Like say for me, I'm currently at 216, so I will be going for the 213 milestone. This will give me 80% of elemental multiplier. So this gives me 80 elemental multiplier. This also gives you battle power, because it gives you 80 critical hit, 80 final damage, 10 physique, and finally that elemental multiplier. So this is pretty much what it does, and I just want to show you what I'm talking about with all this, because then those ratings will make every single stat much higher. Like say here, I only have one red, I only have one fire, so it's very low. I got one fire, and it's only a 3 figure, so the rating is supposed to be 21, but instead I have 96 for fire. And that's actually because my element is multiplied. You can't see any fire imbue on any of my gears, right? Because this rating will multiply whatever I have on it. And that's why I have a total of 96 fire. But you want to get rid of those as soon as possible. The closer and closer you are to getting a single format of just one color is going to bring you closer and closer to a much higher CP or battle power. Now, last one, I want to talk about notes, and this is going to be some things that I want to talk about that I think is very important as we go forwards, because this is an issue. This is quite a big issue that needs to be addressed. So I really hope that one of the developers would be reading this or watching this video, because this is very important. And if you know the developers, or you want to share this knowledge to your friends, or you want to share this awareness to a lot of the player base or to the developers themselves, you can share this video with them. The first thing is, just for everyone, straight off, dragon runes are very difficult to get. They are not readily available, so don't worry about it, don't stress about it. This is still the very early parts of the game. Everyone is just figuring out how things go, so you don't need to go super stressed out about your build now. Everyone's build is not perfect. I know so many other people with worse elements than me. I don't have the best in the world, but mine's pretty much okay, I would say. But so many other players have way worse than what I have now. So don't worry too much about it. Honestly, just don't need to worry about it. And take it slow. Take baby steps. You'll eventually get there. It'll just take some time. Next will be DPS classes have advantage. And that's going to be pretty much automatic because of the nature of the seal breaker itself. The seal breaker is done by killing the boss in 1 minute. However, there are some problems. The seal breaker lasts only 1 minute, and if you can't deal enough damage to it and it doesn't die, you fail. Now this is a problem because DPS classes naturally have higher base power and they have a much higher damage output. And this is actually a problem because if you look at this recommended battle power for the floor 23, oh, it's actually 24. I can't do this, guys. I'm telling you, I can't do this. I've tried a lot of different methods. I've tried fishing for crits, and I simply can't seem to do it. I have tried many different ways. If you see here, I got 1,686 elemental power for water. I got pretty close to 3.1k attack. This is going to be pretty much an attack investment. I put the soul gem to Fury level 4 just to give me more raw power, and with that it's still not enough. I'm currently 76.9k CP and I'm still not strong enough to do this solo run of Sealbreaker floor 24, whilst friends of mine who are like 70k, 72k, they can easily climb till 28, 29 with an actual DPS class. And this is a problem because every single day that you don't climb floors, you're missing out on dragon runes you could have got the day before. So it might not look like a lot. Oh yeah, my friends are getting like say 4 or 5 extra, but every single day it's just gonna keep on adding up, and eventually you'll see yourself in this position where my friends have really good dragon runes, my runes are crap. And why is that? Well, the problem is because you allow that to build up and there's not really any way around it. So classes like Guardian, classes like Saint will have a lot of problems because we don't have the necessary damage to actually clear these floors. So we need to think about ways to actually buff these two classes, at least their solo monster killing power, And I honestly don't think that this is gonna break the game or anything, because majority of the most important parts of the game are done in a team. And if you can buff our solo, the things that we needed to do solo a lot more, it'll just bring us to a more even ground with other DPS classes. Obviously these buffs will not work on team, and if you see here on my skill, you can go to my skills and you can actually see pretty easily what it looks like. If you see here on single player damage increase, you can see that when there are no teammates nearby, damage dealt to non-players is at 25%. This is, in my opinion, not enough, because even with this, as you guys see, I couldn't clear floors. I just couldn't do it. Even with the CP advantage, even with good like elemental investment, I just can't seem to do it. And I have tried, guys. I have tried a lot of different ways to get this far. I tried fishing for crits and all that. And yeah, it's sometimes you get to a point where you just can't progress anymore. So first, I will actually say a couple things that will be very bad, and that's going to be the fear of non-DPS classes to be extinct. Because this is a problem. Like, this is actually a problem. Like, Saints, Guardians are very important classes for all content, because they provide some sort of support for a team. And without them, a team will have very difficult ways to function, especially knowing that Dragon Layers are coming soon. And you guys realize here, there are a very few amount of Guardians left, and Saints, at least their numbers are gradually dwindling, due to the fact that it is very difficult for them to catch up, because every single day you're losing out. You can't clear Forbidden Ground, you can't clear your Seal Breaker, and you get to a point where you're progressing at the same rate early on with your DPS friends, and suddenly you just get completely out bypassed. Like there's nothing you can do about it, because they're progressing much faster. You can clear floors, which I think is unfair. I think what they need to do is they need to buff this particular skill that both the Guardian and Saints got, and to increase the base power and to increase the damage that they're dealing while they're doing solo dungeons, because this is too much. Next will be do seal breakers until the point of no bypass. This is one of the best tips that I can give you, is to do seal breaker until you can't anymore, and you know that you can't anymore. And how to do that, I got a couple tips. The first one is going to be seal breaker lasts only for 1 minute, so only one ultimate can be used per run. To min-max the damage, it should always be done at the last 15 seconds, because you get damage amplification from getting combo chains, and those combo chains give you spell amp. So you ideally want to have the most spell amp before your ultimate's boosted. So while you're constantly attacking, you will get combo chains, and this gives you spell amp. This can help pump extra damage on your ultimate. Your ultimate should only be set to only be used after buff skills or other forms of damage output increase debuffs to maximize the amount of damage that the ultimate can give. If you have difficulty trying to see if you're capable or not of clearing a floor, make sure your first 2 high damage skills proc crit. If it doesn't, leave and try again until you get a good roll, because then this will give you a good head start on a clear attempt. If it's just barely enough, even for those, you can fish for attempts in which your ultimate crits too, because a critical hit on your ultimate is very detrimental on a lot of runs, especially if you're trying to clear higher floors. You need the ultimate to crit, and I can't stress this enough how important this is. So many of my floors I couldn't clear without a crit on my ultimate. So if it doesn't crit, just forfeit. Just fucking leave. That's the best thing I can say. Next one will be losing out on seal breaker progress is permanent, because you can't get back the runes that you could have gotten the day before. This slowly build up, like I said before, and this is why the non-DPS classes needed that extra damage amplification for the solo hunting part of the game. So the whole reason is just to avoid them being left behind due to their class limitations on solo dungeons. And this is pretty much all I want to talk about today. I hope that you guys understood what I'm trying to say. I hope that this is informative and you'll learn something new on this video. And if you have any more other questions or other contents you want me to try build, let me know. The reason why I did this one is because I think that this is a very important thing to talk about. A lot of people simply don't understand enough regarding builds and all that for specific classes. Like I've said before, I need to wait until class change is available in the game, because unfortunately for now it's very difficult to even craft anything remotely viable without being able to see everything, like every single class and what they do and how do they perform. We need to do some tests, you know, like if something is good enough, and so that will take a bit of time. Aside from that, that is it from me today, and I hope I see you guys soon in the next one. Bye.